Gau's ball's a useful one, and here's the finish, which is more than useful.
Micah Richards has stayed back for this one. And it's in from Patrick Vieira!
Fantastic spectacle, but still no goals. Until now! Manchester City breakthrough!
Iheanacho for his hat-trick. Iheanacho! Everybody back, and that one is turned in. It's the goal you knew was coming. It's Phil Foden. Kevin De Bruyne, he takes one touch to control and slams that into the bottom left-hand corner.
So De Bruyne is intending to deliver. Oh, that's exceptional. Extraordinary delivery.
The ball is with Kovacic. Kovacic on to De Bruyne. De Bruyne tries to scoop it in towards Bob. Bob is there. Still Bob. Oh, absolutely stunning. Doesn't shoot first time. He's still got the defender Tomiyasu in front of him. It's back to Ake. Ake goes for goal! Nathan Ake has scored for Manchester City with a low strike inside the right post.
Good evening, welcome to Matchday Live. The winter break is over. We are back. It is the fourth round of the FA Cup and we are looking to retain our trophy. And to do that, we need to beat Spurs. So an 8 p.m. kickoff here in the UK. Big thank you to our guests this evening. Welcome to Michael Brown and to our EDS manager, Barry Murphy. Thank you both for being here. We've got FG and we've got SWP. They are down at Spurs. I want to say White Hart Lane, but I know it's not that anymore. They'll be bringing you the team news very, very shortly. But right at the start, I need to address the fact, obviously, something massive in football has been announced today. Something that is affecting us all. And that is that there is 3 big games on City Plus this weekend. 3 games for you to watch. So tomorrow at 12:30, you can get City v Derby. So this is all available to you on City Plus. So you've got to get yourself onto City Plus now. So that is the under-18s. The 28th, you get the women. They take on Spurs. The 29th, you get Brian's EDS. They are taking on Everton. So 3 games for you across the next 3 days, all available to watch on City Plus. If you're not currently a subscriber to City Plus, it is £4.99 a month for you, or you can take out an annual pass, which is £34.99, or £30 if you're a season ticket holder or a citizen. So amazing value there to get 3 games completely live on City Plus this weekend. And of course, the men kick us all off this evening. You'll get full match commentary of tonight's game on the City app as well, with, of course, as always, the wonderful Alistair Mann. So let's get started. Let's head over to FG and Shaun Wright-Phillips. But before we go, I just want to let the lads know that I've fallen out with them because I liked your little Instagram video, lads, where you were like cutely looking at each other going, oh, I'm on Matchday Live. Oh, I'm on Matchday Live. I'm on Matchday Live too. And I wasn't invited to be a part of this video, boys. So you're both in my bad books. But you can make it up by giving me the team news.
Yes, welcome to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. First things first, Nat, I apologise. It was all Shaun Wright-Phillips' fault.
Oh, yeah, I'm not in control of this show, so down over to FG.
Over to me, indeed, and we'll move on swiftly. Massive occasion here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. My name's FG, and I'm joined by Manchester City legend Shaun Wright-Phillips. Shaun, first things first, memories of playing at White Hart Lane.
It's always been an amazing stadium to play. It's always been noisy, especially at White Hart Lane, here just as much. And they always come out on the front foot. The fans are amazing, loud as always. And it's always a very, very tough game, as we've seen over the last 5 years here as well.
Now, speaking about amazing, 9,000 Manchester City fans will be joining us on our right-hand side, which is an incredible effort by the City fans. There's only one way to get here, and that's by road. There's one way to get back, and that's by road as well, Shaun. Incredible support, and nothing more than we expect.
can't expect anything else from the City fans. This is what they've done since I was 16, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon. And they always bring the noise, especially the away fans. So I'm excited to be here and listen to them go at it.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we, Shaun? The fact we are yet to score at the new stadium. I was driving up here and all I could hear was about how we've not scored here. Is tonight the night?
Yeah, I personally think it is the night. I think if you look at the times that we have been here, the managers that they've had, they pretty much set up defensively with a very, very low block and just tried to hit on the break. And when you got players like Son and Kane to feed him in, anything's possible. And they just seem to score their chances whenever they broke. Whereas this team is a bit more adventurous with the high line, and they just go for it. So I'm looking the game's going to be a very exciting game.
Seems like an absolute dream for Shaun Wright-Phillips to play against the high line. You would score here tonight, wouldn't you?
I just wouldn't even want the ball to feet. I'll just keep running in behind.
We would love to see Shaun Wright-Phillips back. Look, we've been speaking long enough. It's time for the Manchester City team news. So let's get on with it. The official starting lineup for Manchester City from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In goal is going to be Ortega. And our captain today is going to be Kyle Walker. And then it is Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake and Josko Vardiol. Rodri plays with Kovacic and Bernardo, and then it's Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez and Oscar Bob. The substitutes for Manchester City is Ederson, John Stones, Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku, Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Gomez, Mateus Nunes, Mamadou Sissoko and our very own Rico Lewis. Let's start with the match winner from St James's Park. You said off camera, Bob is my guy. Oscar Bob plays today.
I can't wait to watch him live, to be honest with you. I've been talking about him a lot, especially when I've had other jobs, and they've always asked, who's Oscar Bob? And I always say, listen, he's a talent for everybody to watch out for. And every time he's been given his chance by Pep, for me, I think he's been amazing. He's been fantastic. He scored goals, created goals, and caused a lot of problems. So I don't see anything but that happening again today.
Now, there's a new chant for Oscar Bob as well, which I'm sure we'll hear at some point, but also a man who's been sensational. I keep speaking about him here on Matchday Live, and I will not stop. Phil Foden. Absolutely incredible. He starts as well, and it's a really, really big occasion, and he's relishing big occasions this year, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he's one person, if you think about it, that stepped into that role. Like, it's not easy to replace a man like Kevin De Bruyne, and I'm not saying he replaced him the way Kevin De Bruyne would, but he's replaced him in respect of his own way. He's playing his own way and bringing something different to the team. His directness, the way he's always on the half-turn, receiving those ball in those tight areas and causing problems to teams, and also creating chances for a lot of others and scoring them as well.
Now, you look at that front three, and the man who completes it is Julian Alvarez. There's no Erling Haaland today, of course. He's not quite ready, Pep said. When you look at that front three, can you predict where any of the front three are going to play? Is it just a case that they're always just going to be moving around, playing anywhere across the front? Because Julian Alvarez...
I would have loved to play like that, rather than just out on the right. I wouldn't mind being able to go false number 9 or left or number 10. It makes it harder for the defenders to mark you, and that's what all three of them are so good at. It causes a lot of confusion in defence, especially with Oscar Bob now. He'll go in behind, so there's more passes for Phil Foden to look at. It's going to be a lot of problems, and you know what Bernardo brings to the team anyway.
And Ruben Diaz starts today. He's got a fresh trim. Speaking of fresh trims, Shaun Wright-Phillips has got a fresh trim. You've got your game trim. Ruben's got his game trim. How important is a fresh trim on match day, Shaun?
Well, I don't know. I was appearing on Matchday Live today, so I thought I'd get rid of the rough and ready look and come a little bit sharper.
Well, OK, speaking of sharp, we've got Michael Brown in the studio with Brian Barry Murphy. And, of course, Natalie Pike, we can't leave you out. You're looking sharp, too. Let's head back there.
Yes, you've learnt your lesson now, boys. Well done. Thank you very much to FG and to Shaun Wright-Phillips there. They are going to be down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium all evening for us, giving us the build-up and letting us know everything that's going on. So, hello, gents. Hello. Lovely to see you both. Thank you for being here. So we've got the City team news for tonight now, Brownie. What sort of jumps out to you straight away about that team?
Do you know what? We were just having a little chat about it then when they were talking, and he was like, where's Pep going to play this player? Who's going to play where? And Oscar Bob, Alvarez and Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva. I think that's really interesting. Do you know who can play on that right-hand side? Because either or, we've seen Phil being great inside this season, really good coming off the line, getting some great positions. But they've got Udogie going the other way. And by the way, they do go, they do run, they do commit. leave a very high line. So will Pep just think we're away from home, where the more defensive one would be Bernardo Silva? Does he do that, or does he think, well, we'll have the ball? So really interesting choice. It's great to obviously see Kevin De Bruyne back in and around it again. Maybe we're expecting him. And it was a little hint at the end of the last game to say, well, I'm going to need more time. So there'll be a few people disappointing that he's not in that starting 11, but we get why.
Yeah, I think we're happy that he's involved around the squad. But yes, I think there is some anticipation for when we're going to see him starting again. But of course, there's excitement that Oscar Bob starts this evening because, I mean, you'll know firsthand, Brian, how excited City fans get when we have academy players coming through. And of course, in the Newcastle game, he was so heavily involved in that end there. So it's a great opportunity to see him start a full game tonight.
I think it's probably great recognition of how well he's done in such a short space of time, and for him to start in a game of this magnitude is testament to, I suppose, the trust that the manager and the team already have in him, and what he's done has been so incredible based on, I suppose, that transition is not always easy for a young player to go in and show his full personality, but we're seeing clear signs that he's totally at ease with these players and really believes in how much of an impact he can have, and that's very exciting for everyone to watch.
He's been given a few chances. The Champions League. This is him involved in the Huddersfield game as well. Of course, the Newcastle game. What's he like? Obviously, you've known him up close and personal. What's he like? Will he be thriving off these opportunities?
Honestly, man, he's one of the best guys you'll ever meet in your life. He's hard to describe as a person because he's very reserved, very humble, very, very quiet. But he plays the game in the complete opposite. Very expressive, knows how good he is. But kind of shows it in actions, not words, if that makes sense. And I think that's why the players have warmed to him so much. I think Pep mentioned that it's not, he's not looking for how much he rates him. He's been impressed by how much the senior players rate him and how much they want him involved in the team. I think that's probably a big sign of how valued he is already in that team.
I think what he forgot to tell you is he's taught him that little step, a little round the goalkeeper. Yeah. He said that was his signature on when he played, so he's not come out there and said it straight away. But, he's taught him all he knows.
Yeah. He's taught him to be humble as well, then, clearly.
Yeah. It is one thing that actually, and, Pep Guardiola's said on many times about his temperament, and how nice and warming is he around the place. I think that tells you everything. And Pep Guardiola will love that. He'll embrace it even more. Bring him on.
Yeah, I do think with someone like what they call him Oscar Bob. I think you're almost you see him coming from our academy into the first team, and we had the anticipation that this is one of the best players we've ever seen. But to show it so quickly, so early is really. It's incredible to see, and kind of makes every match day for me so exciting just to watch one player and see if he can make that impact. And the final act against Newcastle was something that we've seen in the academy or Joy Stadium, as it's known, so many times, and to see
I told you he taught him it, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. He taught him it.
How excited are you by Oscar Bob? Because I had a brief conversation with Pep Guardiola, and Pep said...
Oh, hold on. Drop that again. You had a quick conversation with Pep Guardiola?
Yeah. Just a quick one, and he said some very, very nice things about him, so I was wondering firsthand, what you thought of him.
I just think Bob can do things that you can't see in the modern game. There's so much preparation for games, so much teams doing so many different things that are tactically, but Bob Oscar can beat players one-on-one and eliminate them in a heartbeat. I think that's very hard for opponents to prepare for. And it's probably the thing that gets most City fans off their seat. They can almost, there's a sense of anticipation when he gets the ball because he can beat players in tight spaces. And you've seen Pep probably references how good he is against those teams who are so compact, a la Huddersfield, and he can create those moments of magic that are very typical of Oscar.
Yeah, and of course the whole academy thing we just love so much, because obviously the amount of affection everybody has for Phil Foden, which continues to grow as he continues to grow as a player. I mean, this season he's just completely flourishing.
Continue to grow. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're actually saying, is there more there?
I think Do you?
His ability, and I think his understanding of the game now and the positions he picks up. And also he's more demanding of his teammates and what's around him. I think he also asks questions back and saying why, what. He's understanding the whole setup so much more. Whether he comes in off the outside or whether he's playing in a position as in a 10 position, he can play deeper. He's got. I mean, I don't think anybody can take the ball in tight areas or do things with that balance and that. I think probably the best.
Yeah, I think he's the inspiration for all the academy players who look up to him as there's been... Cole has shown us a pathway, and I think James McAtee before that, but I think for Phil to become so established and probably one of the leading lights in world football, is the inspiration for all academy players because of the way he conducts himself and how he's the best player and the best trainer every single day, isn't he?
Oh, is he a good trainer as well?
Phil's an animal. I mean,
yeah.
I think they have to literally pull him off the training pitch every day because he just looks like he'll just ignore
football, isn't it? Having that desire, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, to actually play and wanting to keep practicing and doing different things.
He's relentless in the way he trains the game, I think, and it'll be intriguing the way that him and Kevin combine, won't it? When you referenced you on Kevin to play, and Pep said, why can't they play together? And I think if Phil was being totally honest, he wants to play inside, doesn't he? So rather than Phil going on the right, it'll be intriguing to see how Pep combines them two in a central role. Because I don't think Kevin
problem, isn't it?
Way,
nice problem.
I don't know how you do it. Would you? I imagine Kevin kind of drifts to the right, doesn't he? But he never plays on the right, really, does he? You know.
But I think they can all fit, and I think there's enough games. I think the way that, again, and people are saying when that happens, the role that Alvarez has, if you've got Erling Haaland at the top, so everyone's looking and saying, how does he do that? What's going to be next? But that makes a good side, doesn't it? As soon as one thing's not happening, you change it. And with the amount of games, I think you can just move it.
And Pep has previous of combining those talents of Busquets and Xavi in Barcelona. Everyone said they couldn't play together, and he's
just put one at centre back or left back.
Brian, if I wasn't excited enough already by Kevin coming back, you've just heightened that for me, because I'm really now thinking I cannot wait to see how they both play together. As always, if you would like to ask our guests any questions, you can do so by using our WhatsApp number. It's on your screen right now. Ask them anything. Brian's here. Get your EDS questions in. Anything about their careers, you are welcome. Throw in your wild and wonderful ones as well, because you know that I always like to read those out. So get those in on the WhatsApp number that is in front of you now. We have a giveaway for you today. If you're watching our Conti Cup game on Wednesday, you will have seen, we will have mentioned this giveaway then as well. You would have seen Gareth Taylor signing the ball. So we have a full women's team signed ball, including Gareth Taylor. You can see it right there. We passed it to them ourselves to get it signed, so we know that it is real. You can win this ball now. If you're currently watching on YouTube, just go into the description and click the link. If you're watching anywhere else, it's mancity.com/feed. Go in there and enter your details, and you can get in there through the Citizens portal, an opportunity to win a full women's team signed ball, including Gareth Taylor's signature as well. Congratulations, of course, to the women's team. We are going to talk about that a little bit later as well, because that was a great derby victory midweek as well. Of course, that was a cup game midweek for the women. This is a cup game for the men. And when the draw for Spurs came out, honestly, tell me, what did you all think? Because I immediately thought, oh no, not that place where we've never scored a goal. We have a bizarre record at this new Spurs stadium. I keep wanting to say White Hart Lane, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't know, Brownie. Is there such a thing as a jinx, as a hoodoo? Will the players know about it? Because obviously we know Pep does, because he's mentioned it.
I think what you had is you had a Spurs side excited to be playing in the stadium with some big Champions League games and obviously games that followed that, and it's just tended to go into a trend where it's not really being a successful place. I think it will change. I think tonight you're going to see a performance that will certainly put pressure on, but you've got to get rid of it quickly. You know, the Spurs have earned the right, they've stopped City scoring, but it's a wonderful stadium. It's as good as you can play football, and whoever hasn't been, we were just discussing it before, that it's a sensational place to go and see. So if anyone hasn't gone and watched a game there, this tonight will be, honestly, such a good atmosphere, so many City fans as well. I think it's just going to be so noisy. What a place to go and walk out in today.
I haven't been. I've been in the studio.
Why not? Why have you not gone?
I've been here every time we've played them in the new stadium.
If they don't score tonight, what's going to happen?
Oh, I need to go. Right. Oh, you've worked it out. You've worked it out, Brownie. Brian, have you found in your career, either as a manager or a player, a ground where you just didn't do so well?
Yeah, I think, well, plenty for me in my case. But I think it shouldn't matter, but it does, doesn't it? Because it just gets in your mind for no other reason apart from you having won there or scored, and by nature, I think football is suspicious, aren't they? And managers and Pep's is as well. I think he won't like that stat, even though he'll want to change it. And there was time last season where if we played outside of the academy stadium and played on one of the training pitches, we lost every game. And I think it's just the players start thinking like there's something in it, and then before you know it, you want to just like get rid of it. But it just changes eventually, and probably tonight will be the night, I think.
Because Pep did mention it. I mean, obviously we won the treble, we won the Champions League.
He's pretty suspicious, I think.
Yeah, and then he said he just wants to. What do you want to do this season? Just score a goal.
Yeah.
So Do you think that was kind of tongue-in-cheek, or do you think there was a serious kind of like element there?
I think it just takes the focus away from, or makes it lighthearted, but it'll be in his mind, I think, and he'll want to rid it, and it'll definitely change the night one, I think.
Have you had any grounds specifically?
So many. You know, it's not good. Honestly, it's lots and lots. You know, it's one of those, isn't it? You know, I don't want to say it, but I never won at Old Trafford.
You never won at Old for any team you played in? Oh, goodness.
So the dislike, is really, really, really high on my list. How bad is that?
Were United just in their prime at that time?
Oh, yeah, that's the point, isn't it?
What was it? Was there anything specifically about Old Trafford, though?
I just think they were in. It's obviously now, isn't it? I think everybody was saying, well, we don't get anything at the Etihad because City have so controlled it for such a long period of time, and obviously in my career that was where I was coming up against. So that was the one ground I sort of didn't really enjoy going to. I enjoyed the challenge, but so even when you're not playing for City and going for other clubs, when you've grown up, known City so well, to go to Manchester United and not get results, even worse.
Brian, any specific grounds for you? I'm kind of interested if there was, because when we played Newcastle, our guests were talking about the hill that they have at St James's.
Okay.
Is there any grounds specifically that you've ever played at or managed at that's had something about it? You know, we hear people talk about Luton and how compact it is. Can you think of anything? I
think Luton's a good example. Before we went there, I said to Oscar Bob, I said, you've never played anywhere like this because of how you go in through the houses and the pitch is slopey at Luton. And when the ball goes into the bottom corner where the away fans are situated, it takes you forever to get out of there. Even if you clear the ball, it still comes back down the slope. You think in your mind. But I think the beauty of English football is those certain grounds have characteristics that make it unique. And like you said, if you don't win there or don't have a good record, it does get in your head, even though as professionals it shouldn't. And my grounds are probably like lower level than Michael's, but there was grounds before like Luton. Even back in the old days, Barnet had a massive slope in it. It's where they used to play the reserve games for Arsenal. But the slope seemed to be going out of the game because of the new stadiums, and it seems to be all perfectly...
that slope at Newcastle is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Luton is always a tough place to go. It always was, and it's right on top of you. QPR is very similar. When you go to QPR, literally the stands are like that. But one that's notable to me is psychologically as well. You're thinking you're in trouble. You're going to be you're going to be worrying you're on the bus and you're heading to Millwall.
Ooh.
When Millwall were in their prime, so the streets are lined. There's quite aggressive nature as you're on the bus. You got real pressure on you. Things are thrown at the bus, you know. So it's a totally different. You go into that lion's den in this area, and it was very intimidating. That was a real tough place to go, and you had to really just get through it, get on the ball. Managed to get a couple of results, but that was a really different style of football that you were tested before you got there.
The superstitions are interesting, though. I played at Sheffield Wednesday for 2 years. Again, we were struggling in the Championship, but there's a significant slope there that goes away from the cop, but no one realises it until you're on the pitch. And we'd watch the captains go up for the toss, and if our captain lost the toss, we'd pray that the opponents wouldn't turn us around, because if we attacked the cop in the first half, the game was finished. Everyone would go back to the change rooms and we go, oh, we lost the toss. The game's done. Why are we even playing? And it was ridiculous when you look back at it, how immature we were, but it definitely had a negative impact on the team.
So you know David James. David James loves the stat, doesn't he? And he loves some sort of detail. So when I was at Portsmouth with JMO, he believed that the pitch is sort of like cambered like that. So what he used to say is to the team, when we have to hit on a corner, you've got to hit the back post, because the goalkeeper always underestimates it. So he was always on. You know, we always see on our WhatsApp groups now where he's literally giving a little bits of detail. Well, that was one of those from JMO. Why is the corner not gone to the back post? Test the goalkeeper out in a different way, you know.
I love this. I love hearing that from both of you, because I think as fans we often wonder, is that psychological thing just us, or is it? Well, it is. It isn't just us. They are just like us. It is filtering down there. Thank you. So an 8 p.m. kick-off tonight against Spurs. We already have the Manchester City team news, so let's take a little look now at the Spurs starting 11. So the Spurs team for the FA Cup fourth round is Vicario, Porro, Romero, who is captain, Van den Ven, Udogie, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Kulusevski, Johnson, Richarlison, and Timo Werner starts. You can see the subs there. Of course, a notable person on the substitutes bench there is, of course, Maddison. He is back, but only on the bench. So that is the Spurs starting 11 for this evening. So, for me, Brownie jumps out there. Timo Werner starts. Of course, they brought him in on loan at the start of January. He's got history in the Premier League. He's got history with City. Obviously, played in the Champions League final where Chelsea beat us. What do you make of their signing of Timo Werner, and how are you expecting him to do against us this evening?
It was an interesting signing. I thought they wanted to get cover across that front three because it's so fluid. They want to move it around. Actually, I was at the game Manchester United where he played. I wasn't sure he was going to start the game, and he had some good involvement. Yeah, he had some good involvement. He was in and around, a couple of opportunities, some good, some bad. So it's a big chance for him now to play in front of the home supporters. You know he's got that quality. You feel like he will be a threat. He'll understand the role a little bit better now, won't he, when he's been there a little bit longer, when there's been more sessions for him. But they're a real threat at home. I think they start very, very quickly. And that's what we're looking to do. You just got to keep them quiet. And second half, generally, they've started to struggle because they just go really at it. And then at that point, you just wait, be patient. But yeah, the clothes are getting a bit more interesting each season.
I didn't realise that we were wearing black bomber jackets tonight, to be honest. I feel a little bit nervous. Yes, I'm going to open mine up a bit wider.
Yours is a match to Richarlison's, look.
Oh, no. Richarlison, we see... Oh, James Maddison, there we go. I want to get onto both of those. Richarlison first. Obviously, the Everton fans absolutely loved him. He's Brazil's number 9. He seems to have been in the Brazil team solidly for a few years, but it still feels like, Brian, perhaps he doesn't get full respect in the Premier League. How do you rate him as a player?
I think he's obviously a top centre forward. How many goals he scores will probably be the most significant part of his season. I think him and Werner are a clear indication of the manager here. Ange has got a clear vision of how he wants the team to evolve, and it involves brutal pace at the top end of the pitch. Timo Werner struggled at Leipzig in the Champions League against City last season. But I think they'll just have a clear vision that their style of play will allow him to invade the spaces that they create, and he should suit Tottenham a lot better and combine with Richarlison really well in kind of an alternative front line to what they had previously with Harry Kane, where they were very reliant on him and Son. But it's interesting.
I mean, he can cause problems, can't he? When he's on it, Richarlison. Yeah, he's got that little bit of legs with having Højbjerg in the middle. Bentancur's really good, nice technical footballer. The two full-backs, Porro, Udogie, really good. They get into great positions going forward. Porro just getting them shots away. Wonderful goal we've seen recently as well into that top corner. So they're getting on because the two centre-backs are back now, so they can be able to get a really high line, push the pitch up, try and squeeze you. So it's a really decent test. You know, if they start like they have done, you've got to make sure you really can counter them and really wait for those opportunities and make sure you're quite tight.
I mentioned seeing James Maddison there. Of course, they signed him in the summer. He's got there and had an incredible start to the season, Brian, and then he got injured, and then Spurs kind of started to dip a little bit, obviously tied in with a few other injuries and suspensions. He's back now, and I know how from reading the forums, listening to the podcast, how excited the Spurs fans are about the fact that he's back on the bench. We've got Kevin De Bruyne on the bench. They've got James Maddison on the bench. Which one's more significant, do you think, to the club, to the team?
I reckon I know which answer he's going to go with. Just a bit of a punt, but I've got an idea which one he's going to take.
Well, obviously, Kevin. I think Mike will probably explain better than me the warmth or the love that the City City fans have for Kevin has probably been replicated by the Tottenham fans for Maddison. He's like a player they've identified as being kind of what they want to see in their team going forward and the main man, and he's definitely revelling in that role. So to have him back on the bench is probably as important for them as it is to have Kevin on the bench for us. But it's interesting.
They've really taken to him because the style of football that Ange has given.
They want to see.
He's given him that role where he's getting in great positions, and he's been missed actually. Performances, results have dropped off since he's gone out of the team. Romero as well was caused a bit of that problem, getting sent off, and then everybody getting injured behind it, and then he's had a knock-on effect. But he's such a talented player, playing in a way now that he's enjoying it. It'll take him a few weeks. He's been out for quite a while, but real talent. I think we watched him for some time. He's struggled at times when his team aren't going so well. I think more is it that type of player as well when you're not getting into good positions, you're not creating too much, then you can struggle. But it's real talent.
I don't think the Spurs fans would have expected to have a player as significant as Harry Kane, but they've almost got a different one which has much affection for him so soon. And
they're crying out for somebody, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're crying out for somebody to get behind.
And they love him,
Son as well. Do you know, that's a big miss.
He's a great watch, isn't he, Maddison? I think he's an exciting player to watch, and I think when he comes on the pitch, our guys will be really sensitive to he can just have that defining moment in the game because of his ability to find a killer pass. And like you referenced with Werner and Richarlison, they have real speed in forward areas, and he's the one who can find that pass to release that speed in that area.
Yeah, you read my mind there as well, because wonderful news for City this evening that Son cannot score against us.
Yeah, brilliant.
Can he not?
Tonight, which is, well,
Are you sure?
Actually, I'm not sure, Brownie.
Are you sure? Check it.
I wouldn't put my house on it.
Yeah.
Of course, he's still off at the Asia Cup. He's been not only such a huge player for them, but against us, he always seems to shine. So, yay!
He just finds a position, doesn't he? So again, somebody who loves Premier League football, loves watching and admiring other players, and I know you obviously want to watch your own team, but you know, me in football, I think he's just somebody who plays it in the right way, respects everybody, but he can do things, can't he? He can come off the line, he can turn both ways, finish left foot, right foot, and I just think there was a really good moment, if you watched in the last game, him and Kyle Walker, they just had that little love on the pitch where it was getting quite tight, as if it was like an embrace of respect. And I just thought it tells you everything about Son, you know, how much he's respected.
Oh, I'm glad he's not there tonight, Brian. I'm glad he's not
there. I always think if you see Kyle respecting a wide player who he's always got to be on his best for, I think it's pretty significant, because I think since Vinicius you've almost got that sense that the best wide players in the world kind of think, well, I can't beat Kyle on the outside, so I've got to find a way of beating him inside or with my movement. So for him to actually be so respectful and focused when he plays against Son is testament to how dangerous he is. And you just said the same thing from a fan's point of view.
Yeah, hopefully we think, you know, he's in Asia, in the Asia Cup, so he cannot score against us, we believe. Thank you, gents. That's our thoughts on the Spurs team this evening. We're going to go back over now to FG and to Shaun Wright-Phillips. And Shawnee, right, we need you just to quickly clarify. You look like you've got United written on your jumper. Can we just get fully clarified what it says on Shaun's jumper, please, FG?
Yes, welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium now, Shaun. Natalie has questioned your hoodie whether it says United. It does say United, but it says something else as well, doesn't it?
Of course it does, but there's more to the story, Nat, so if you do your research, you'll find out what it's all about.
It is for a great cause, indeed. Now then, OK, let's talk about the Tottenham Hotspur team. We've seen it. Any surprises from the outset? No Son, as we know, so Richarlison plays with Werner.
I wouldn't say there's any surprises because, you know, obviously Maddison's just coming back from injury. It's nice to see him on the bench. And obviously Son's away on international duty. So I wouldn't say there's many surprises there. I think, for me, that's the strongest Spurs squad they can get without those two. So it'd be interesting to see how it really turns up.
Now, OK, so let's talk about James Maddison then. We've seen the return of Kevin De Bruyne, which we saw at St James's Park, and we'll continue to watch back. How important is James Maddison to Spurs? And is it in comparison with the importance of Kevin De Bruyne, or is it surely Kevin's a lot more important, right?
I wouldn't say it's in comparison. I think Maddison's a complete different way of playing compared to Kevin De Bruyne. He does create chances and he does cause problems, but I don't think he can give that same impact that Kevin did, say, on the weekend when he come off. But we know how good Maddison is, and he'll cause a problem to any team in the Premier League, or if not any team in the world. So credit to him, but I still think, for me, he's a long way from being possibly a Kevin De Bruyne level, and that's no disrespect to him.
Now, OK, you were obviously an electric winger. We used to love seeing Shaun Wright-Phillips down the right-hand side. Imagine being a winger today, on the right-hand side, going up against Udogie, who's been absolutely exceptional this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been frightening. For me, he's been one of the surprise players in the Premier League for how well he's actually doing since he's joined Spurs. And I've noticed he's a very aggressive player. He likes contact. So the best way I would isolate him is pass and move rather than try and take him, because he's quick. So you have to catch him kind of while he's sleeping. And there's always that saying with the attackers that when you see the number on that player's back, that means he can't see you. So that's when you start running, basically. And then he has to react after that. So I think that's the way I would line up against it.
You're speaking from experience, as you can see. Shaun Wright-Phillips, OK, let's talk real quick about the front three for them. It's Richarlison, Werner, Brennan Johnson. There's a lot of pace in that front three, isn't there?
It's perfect for the way Ange plays. He likes to play on the counter-attack. He likes to get in behind, and he likes quick players, as we've seen. And they do cause a lot of problems, and they will create chances. They're at home, but if they take it that way and play an open game and City play the game that we know they can play, it could be problems for them today.
Now, the majority of fixtures with Manchester City and Spurs is goals galore. Looking at both lineups, do you expect goals galore again?
I'm personally hoping we keep a clean sheet, to be honest. I just hope the goals are one way, but when you come here, like, it's always an entertaining game, and the way Ange plays sets up for that as well. So hopefully we can keep a clean sheet, but as long as we score and win the game, then I don't care how many goals go in.
No, we saw the arrivals, which were just on our right-hand side a few moments ago. The players look really, really relaxed, as always. With it being a Friday night fixture, as a player, do you relish that more, to play in a night game in a stadium, an arena like this? Or would you rather it's just an early kick-off and just calm? Or is it each player is different?
Well, I've never experienced a Friday night. it was after my time.
What about a night game then? A night game?
No, don't get me wrong. The night games were really, really good, especially with the atmosphere and everything. But I don't think you can beat a Saturday 3 o'clock game where you can get all the kids, all the families there, and obviously the pubs are open in the afternoon and everybody turns up. So I'm a 3 o'clock kickoff man.
A 3 o'clock kickoff man. Listen, kickoff is fast approaching. The players, the Tottenham goalkeepers just came out, which was the round of applause. We'll head back to the studio where Shaun Wright-Phillips has got a lovely hoodie on. So what's the drip looking like in the studio?
The drip's on point, FG in the studio. Of course, it always is in here. Thank you so much there to FG and to Shaun Wright-Phillips. 8 o'clock kick-off tonight in the FA Cup. The men's team taking on Spurs. So you've got about half an hour to go now. Don't forget, you'll get your full match commentary on the City app with the wonderful Alistair Mann. It is the second cup game this week because the women played in the Conti Cup on Wednesday night. It was a Manchester Derby Conti Cup, and it was a second Manchester Derby victory for our women's team this season. Of course, they thumped them at Old Trafford and then they thumped them here at the Joy Stadium. I was there. It was wonderful. I had a great night, gents. It was very enjoyable, very comfortable for most of the game. So, because you know what I'm like when I watch games. So it was very enjoyable.
You're a bit tense to sit near, aren't you?
Yes.
So hopefully tonight we can get an early goal.
I'm going to be a nightmare for you tonight, I can tell you.
You'll be fine. It's going to be a good performance, don't worry.
On Wednesday night, I was sat in front of Sean Goater, who is, of course, one of the coaches for our women's team, who was in work mode. It was very different to see our goat in work mode. And, of course, he is...
Was he pretending, or was he really working?
I think he was working, because at one point, Gareth came from the bench, walked up the stairs, sat next to him, and they talked, like, for a bit. Yeah. So I feel like the goat was giving Gareth some words of encouragement, wisdom, thought. And then, of course, Gareth went back down and City scored. So, I mean, I could give the full credit to the GOAT, but I won't. I'll give it to Gareth and the team as well. Of course, you played with Gareth. You will have worked with Gareth back in his academy days. What was he like back then? Did you always have a feeling that he was going to go on further and become a manager in his own right?
He's been a huge source of support to me. When I first came to the club, obviously I didn't know the players individually, and he'd worked with a lot of the players who had graduated in TDS before me. Was actually the one who first told me about Oscar Bob. He had played for Gareth in the under-18s when Oscar was first at the club from Vålerenga, and he told me about this player who could play inside, and I was playing Oscar wide all the time, and it was Gareth's idea really to tell me to play him inside, and I played him inside, and you can see how good he is. But all the players know him around the academy because they've experienced him. And he's made the transition seamless into the women's game, because he seems to be doing a great job in what is probably the most exciting season that we've had for a long time.
He's worked so hard as well, though. Do you know, right throughout the academy for many years, just taking his way, and now obviously, you know, starting to see some rewards, starting to see the team doing very, very well, and that's what you want. It's very easy to talk to. We've done so much with Matchday Live with him as well. But it's great to see him doing well. Not sure about his signature on the ball, whether it devalues it or adds a little bit of value. We'll soon see about the demand for it. But
apparently the demand's pretty good. Yes. Go on, Gareth.
Well, because Gareth's on it, then, is it? Yeah. That's the one.
Yes, it might be that. It may be the superstars such as Chloe Kelly that are also on it.
I can see that. We just put Chloe Kelly's signature right at the front, you know, so I can see it's on there.
especially after another phenomenal goal there. I mean,
a great striker.
She's just so hugely talented, and she just loves to score a spectacular goal. And a spectacular goal in a derby is just an even sweeter spectacular goal.
Was it good? Was the atmosphere really good? Is that the thing? You know, it was a full stadium. It was great.
I'm going to say between 5,000 and 6,000 people inside the stadium. Both the ends were full. The standing ends. In the first half, I went and stood behind the goal that we were shooting towards in a pack. I haven't stood behind a goal for football for such a long time. It was such a pleasure. In terms of the numbers for people watching, it was the highest numbers that we've had for a live game on City Plus all season since the men played a pre-season friendly. So people wanted to watch it, and you can see why.
The players must have enjoyed it as well, wasn't it? Having that atmosphere, playing against Manchester United, and that's the point, isn't it? I bet you enjoyed it a little bit more because of the opposition, I'm sure, Natalie.
Oh, the next game, the women will take on United again in March at the Etihad. That'll be the third derby this year. It's going to be a hat-trick of derby wins. I can feel it. It's going to be a massive, massive crowd.
Huge crowd as well, won't it?
It'll be a huge crowd. Straight after we interviewed Steph, Kirsten and Gareth, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. You could feel the sort of like the heat coming off them, but because like you say, Bruyne, they're still in everything. They're still in the FA Cup. They're still in the Conti Cup. They are battling in the league. They're having a brilliant season, and Gareth still remained. When I was saying that to him, he was still like one game at a time.
He doesn't like it, does it? I mean, those girls, we see them train every day. Like, the professionalism and the levels that they're working at are of the highest level. And every time you go and say to Gareth about this is the best team we've ever seen, and this is going to be the season, he just seems to like go into meltdown because he doesn't want to acknowledge it or build up the pressure. But it's on him because of how good the girls are, and that team is really evolving into be a real match for Chelsea.
Do you know what's funny? He's had player development for so long. Like, you're in player development, you've got to produce, and they're going into the side now. And all of a sudden, you're realising that player development's important, and then now the crowds are increasing, the expectation levels, and it's about then starting to win, isn't it? Do you know, the journey's there, and then you want to see a trophy. You've got to deliver a championship, and I think that's where it starts to get to, and ultimately, if you want to be the best at your job, that comes your way, doesn't it?
The striker Khadija Bunny Shaw scored 2 of the best goals I've ever seen last month, and I said to Gareth the morning after, I said that must have been the goat's work, and he said no, and I said, oh, he was taking credit for it. And when I said to him how good the team was, he goes, it's okay, and I said, like, you can't possibly play this down any longer, like, you know. I mean, Chelsea are very, very good, aren't they? But this City team is more than capable of matching them and beating them this season, I feel.
Any striker player, any hold-up player, it's going to be Gareth, isn't it? You know,
the goal,
the goal will be getting credit.
I always feel a bit.
They'll be fighting between them to say, right, who's
me?
I always sense a bit of that.
Who's helped Bunny? Who's helped Bunny the most?
I always wonder how the dynamic works when the strikers walk past Gareth and go to Shaun for some key advice on striking. You might know better than me, I don't know. Well, the goal seems to be the *1 point of contact for strikers.
Oh, he seems to have wonderful relationship.
I think because you'll just have a laugh with him. Come on, let's get over here. Let's have a few, finishing.
Everybody loves the goat. Everybody loves the goat. Yeah. So the women's team having a phenomenal season. Do keep your eyes out. We have, as you'll see here on the table, a full women's team signed ball. Also has Gareth Taylor's signature on it as well. You can win it if you're watching on YouTube. Click into the description. Click the link that's in there. If you're not on YouTube, you need to get onto the City website, onto the Citizens portal. Have a little look in there to win this ball. Register a full women's team signed ball, and it could be a real historic season for the women as well. So you're going to want this ball. So do that, please. It's been a wonderful week for the women. Hopefully it'll be a wonderful week for the men, and it's also been a wonderful week for our very own Michael Brown. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. I was wondering where this was going. I was like,
we have got you a brownie hedgehog cake.
Fantastic. I was joking before that. I said I was going to bring a cake, and then I didn't. Thank you very much.
Thank you, producer Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl. I really appreciate you've put it all the right way as well in age. You just wanted to break, so there. Look.
I presume that you...
Is that the right age, is it? Or...
Is Phil Foden your favourite player? Is that
something
what
like
it is?
That.
Yes, it's not your age. It's his favourite player.
Look at that.
Look at that, a brownie cake. Did you have a wonderful birthday?
Very nice, thank you. Yeah, nice meal just with the family last night. Very low key. Bit of gym, bit of running around, you know. Bit of netball as well.
Very.
I had to go and watch my daughter play netball. I'll let you smell this in a bit. I promise I won't do that.
Smell it. I want the whole. I want a chunk
you know
of
what
it,
I'm
mate.
going to do, don't you?
Yes, yes. Very nice. Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate that.
Very happy 47th birthday to Michael Brown. Lucky magic number that. You and Phil Foden sharing that in common today. It's also a nice vegan cake as well, so our producer Darryl bought it so that he can have a slice as well. So very happy birthday from us all here.
Can't wait for
at
the game
Manchester
to stay.
City.
It's the start.
Yes.
Come on,
Look at that. It's just going to sit there the whole
go.
thing now. Thank you all for sending in your WhatsApp questions. Also, we've set a precedent now, by the way. If anyone whose birthday it is, we don't get them a cake out, we're in trouble. So, but producer Darryl says you're his favourite, so that's going to cause problems. OK, on to our WhatsApp questions. So thank you for sending those in, some cracking ones. Want to get straight to this one that James has sent in for Brian. James says, Brian, what is the secret to bringing through world-class talent through the ranks? Foden, Palmer, Lewis and now Bob are great examples of youth doing amazing.
I don't think there's any specific answer. I think just all those boys have a common theme of being obsessed with improvement. And you could see, especially Oscar last season, you could see he was going to train with the first team a lot, but coming back to us and still being the most outstanding professional. And he had a real hunger to be training, a bit like we said about Phil, on the training pitch all day, every day. And the medical guys, the sports science guys, were saying he can't be doing this much. And I said he can because he is. And you definitely see that common. You've seen this. That common denominator is their appetite to improve and be obsessive about the game. And they all love the game pretty much.
Love that. Obsession for football. And
it is amazing, that, isn't it? To have that understanding, like you say, when you go over to the first team, not thinking you've made it, you're there, and then you obviously got to go back. And that's hard at times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you had that taste and maybe you've played a game, played 2 games, and then all of a sudden you're not in that squad and you've got to go back. And the games are totally different.
Absolutely.
No crowd, or very minimal people watching. And it's not necessarily all about the winning. Again, comes back down to development of the group and the young players.
And I think the manager definitely looks for that. I almost
patience though as well.
Yeah,
it's hard, isn't
absolutely.
it?
I suspect somebody's almost like sending Cole back to play with us to see how he was when he came back with us. And
but didn't he request to play quite a few times? He kept saying, there was rooms like he'd leave the first team game and come and run straight over and just get some more minutes to play, which is fantastic, isn't it?
Same with Oscar,
I would have found that tough, really, because I went straight in and pretty much stayed in that first team group. But actually,
you were playing a lot.
mentally to go back is difficult. But I think they know now that in this group, to even just get a little bit of it's fantastic and just keep working. So
I think with all those players, even Rico played for us when he was 16, so played in the EFL Trophy away at Rotherham one day, and we got beat 6-0. And he had a really poor game, so there's something in that, the more difficult you can make it for these exceptional talents, I think the better.
So that's a level, though, that you say, playing up in a different style than that academy.
Absolutely.
Playing in that where they're going to be ruthless, they're going to take.
Absolutely.
It's
been forgotten. One of the things that's forgotten about Rico Lewis played for us when he was an under 17. And we played Rotherham, we lost 6-0 in the EFL Trophy, and everyone was saying how bad the game was and how poor Rico was. But down the line, he adapted so quickly that he was so beneficial to him.
That is good, isn't it? Actually,
it's the way that we're creating great men on the pitch and great men off the pitch as well. So I love that. It's a great question. Thank you so much for sending that in. Talking about great men that are off the pitch. Oh, I've given them a nice compliment for once. We're going to go back over to FG and to Shaun Wright-Phillips.
Yes, welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's FA Cup Friday, and who better to speak to about FA Cup memories than Shaun Wright-Phillips? Let's start with your debut. Do you remember much of the game against Swindon?
Not really. Like, I would say a lot of my football career in general has been a blur. But like as a kid, it's always a dream that you want to play an FA Cup, and to have the chance and obviously to make my debut against Swindon, I couldn't have asked for much more, really. There
is one certain memory which we'll come to in a minute, but let's talk about you playing at Wembley at the final. The first final at the new Wembley, was it? For Chelsea against Manchester United in an FA Cup final. How did that one go?
It went well, to be honest with you. Managed to pick up a medal, managed to stop Ronaldo from scoring any goals. And to be honest, that was honestly the game plan for Mourinho at that time. He was like, we're going to play you, but I know you like to defend, so you and Paulo Ferreira have to double up on Cristiano Ronaldo. And that's effectively what we did, and I broke when I could, and we managed to win the game 1-0.
The magic of the FA Cup. So growing up, especially as a young English lad, everyone wants to win the FA Cup. You won the FA Cup. The magic still exists, doesn't it, Shaun?
100%. I think you can see with all the teams that you're seeing, especially if you look at like Spurs' team now, it's the strongest team they can field. City's got a strong team out. Everybody that plays in the FA Cup wants to win it. And it's a tournament that there's always stories and dreams for other teams to get to the 5th round of quarterfinals and so on.
And let's talk about the destination of the final, which is Wembley. The Champions League final is also at Wembley this year, so we're very much on the road to Wembley. Let's talk about Wembley as an arena to play in as a player, the importance. It's an absolutely iconic venue, isn't it?
It's very iconic, but in most ways it's a formidable place. It's nice to have such a stadium like that, which is effectively is neutral ground. So is whoever goes there, nobody's at home really. But I'd say in many terms and in many ways, it's almost been over the last 5 years a home ground for City, because they're always in a final, whether it's a Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, they always seem to be playing there. So hopefully if we get there again, we've got a little bit of an advantage.
Hopefully. So now, okay, when you think of the FA Cup and Manchester City and you think of this man, all the fixture with Spurs, there's only one fixture we talk about. Manchester City winning 4-3, but it was such a special game, and it's a game that loads of City fans probably watching Matchday Live have rewatched so much. I just want to know everything from that fixture, Shaun. It was an emotional roller coaster.
It was more than that, to be honest. I remember it clearly. I remember a lot of the team talks leading up to the game, and we always knew, especially at White Hart Lane, the first 15 minutes, Spurs come out the trap flying, and they always did that. So we always had to kind of brace ourselves, but we came to this game, that's what we was warned about again, and within 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I think we was like nearly 2-0 down, and in our head we was thinking, man, and then half-time comes, you're 3-0 down, and then you come in, you find out Joey Barton's been sent off, and then it's just an uphill battle. There was obviously tension within the dressing room, and I remember Arthur Cox saying, we can do this. And we looked at each other, and then we was like, do you know what? If we get one goal, you never know what can happen. And then one goal led to 2 goals, and then 2 goals led to 3, and then you know what happened at the end.
When it was 3-3, were you sort of on the pitch, like the momentum had obviously changed. That half of football was incredible. But when it got to 3-3, and obviously the goal that came late on, were you pushing to get that goal? Or because you had 10 men, was it a case of trying to... Because Spurs didn't really offer as much in the second half at all, did they?
We was pushing for the win. We weren't... I think as soon as we got 1 goal, we felt the mood in the stadium change, the players changed. Second goal came at a reasonable time after the first goal. And after that, it was like we said, yeah, we got this, and we just went for it.
And you did have it indeed. A word on the kit you were wearing that day as well. Iconic. I remember that kit, and I think City fans will remember that kit with the FA Cup. It was a beautiful kit, wasn't it? It was a lovely, lovely strip.
Every kit I've worn for City, I've liked, apart from the ones that didn't fit me properly.
Well, I'm pretty sure all of them would fit now because they're very, very tight, Shaun. Right, let's head back to the studio.
Thank you very much there to FG and to Shaun Wright-Phillips. So it is... 15 minutes away from tonight's FA Cup 4th round game as we look to retain the trophy, of course, that we won last year, beating Manchester United. I'll just put that in there because it's always lovely, isn't it? Tonight, our opponents, of course, are Spurs. FA Cup is such an incredible part of the football history of this country. You've both been so lucky to have played in the FA Cup. I mean, this is really patronising, considering it says 74 on your cake. Can you remember your first ever FA Cup game that you played in?
I've had a little bit of a reminder today,
okay,
but I'm not 100% sure what happened in the game, so I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I actually am not going to tell you. I know that it was a 0-0 game.
Was it Leicester?
Leicester, yes, and then we went on to win the replay 5-0.
Well, there you go. That was not a bad result, was it?
There you go, yes. It wasn't a particularly special game or anything.
No,
yes.
It wasn't special. You know. It's a special tournament, so great memories, but yeah, not so special, that one.
Yeah. Brian, can you remember your first ever FA Cup game?
I played for Preston. It was my first club in the UK under David Moyes, and it was, I think you won't remember it. It was they played Arsenal just before that. It was that great team in the early noughties. No, it's good memories. I think Preston, it wasn't a big club when I was there. We were always the underdogs in those big games, and now it's become established because of what they did in those years. But no, very special for me.
So that was both their first FA Cup games. Standout FA Cup moments. I feel like, Brownie, we cannot go any further in this show, considering we are less than 50 minutes to kick off now. Just to...
What are my standout moments? I feel that's what you're going to mention. Are you going to mention something else?
I feel like it's my standout moments that involve you. Standout
be.
moments for the FA Cup in general. If I was going to ask you what was the greatest FA Cup comeback ever in the history of the FA Cup, what would you go for?
Did it involve Manchester City, did it?
Yeah, you've
sure?
Manchester City and then perhaps the team you were playing for?
Oh, you playing? Sorry, I didn't
Look
even
at
know.
him laughing.
I didn't even know.
know.
Sorry. I didn't
See,
know.
do you know what? Honestly, we've done
poor, isn't it?
movie
It's
after
poor, that.
movie.
Didn't know that.
We've done documentaries on it. City Plus have had it for so long, and then we've decided to put it back out again. I've done 2 programmes this morning on it, actually. 3 interviews. It's not, you know, I can't really forget about the situation. So imagine being 3 up against your former team.
What game was it?
Against I was
Spurs v
playing for
City.
Spurs against Manchester
Where
City, and at White Hart Lane.
I remember the game.
And City went down to 10 men. Joey
Don't say his
Bruyne got
name,
sent
yeah.
off, OK? And we're thinking, oh, there's half a chance, until Kevin Keegan rallied round and you'd want to carry on?
And we ended up winning 4-3. 4-3, 4 goals in the second half. 10 men City beating Spurs. Greatest FA Cup comeback of all time.
It was some
And
game, that, though.
The
Scored the
anniversary of
winning
it.
goal? The winning goal was scored by...
The winning goal was scored by
John Mackin.
John Mackin,
John
yes.
Mackin.
Teammate of mine in
Post.
Preston, yeah.
Yeah, so every time I've seen him, I've seen him last week in the press room. I still try and trip him up.
He's here every day. We see him at CFA all the time.
But honestly, I'm playing in that game, and do you know, because I knew City as well, you know what City are like, and there's ups and downs, and doing it the hard way. It's always been that sort of thing mentioned, and I'm sat there at half-time, honestly, 3-0, it's like dreamland, and then when there's a red card, I almost went, oh no, I'm not sure this is a good idea. I just sat down in the dressing room trying to tell everyone, this is not over, it's not over, it's not over, it's not, you know, like thinking, and they're probably thinking, 3-0 up, we're Spurs, we're fine, it'll be all right.
But you knew.
And then the start of the second half, there's a quick goal, and then it just started to develop. And I'm thinking, I just know what's coming here. You know. And that man in the picture before, Shaun Wright-Phillips, honestly, he's done me in this round twice now. Chelsea, he scored a goal and beat his foot when I was playing for Wigan. And on this occasion, he's in an offside position. It's given. And he said, oh, it might not have been, but he was. And he just knew full well it was not going to go my way.
Greatest FA comeback of all time. That documentary that Brownie mentions is available on City Plus. The anniversary of that game is the 4th of February. I'm in that documentary because I remember that game like it was yesterday. What a comeback. So, yeah, Spurs 3, City 4. Get that on City Plus. So, 10 minutes away from kick-off in tonight's Spurs v City game. If you're just joining us, you're very welcome. Here's a bit of a recap on tonight's team. Of course, Stefan Ortega is in goal for the FA Cup. He's only ever conceded 1 goal in the FA Cup, 7 games. Walker, Diaz, Ake, Gvardiol, Rodri, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Oscar Bob and Julian Alvarez. Right, let's head back over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to get some final thoughts from FG and SWP.
Yes, welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The players are behind us, getting focused, ready to go. How do you see the game going today, Shaun?
Well, I'm really hoping we win, but I know for one thing it's going to be a very entertaining game.
It is. It does look like the players are very fired up. Do we expect a tactical battle, or is it just going to be a case of Ange very much sticking to his principles? He's done it here before at a time when he had 9 men on the pitch. You don't really expect him to change much, do you?
No, most definitely don't. They're going to be very explosives in counter-attack and transition, and they're going to play that high line. But at the same time, I don't think City are going to change the way they play either. So I think it's going to be, in a way, a gun-ho match.
A gun-go match, indeed. How important is the first 15 minutes of this game to keep the crowd quiet and to potentially, rubber stamp a mark? If we get an early goal, will it be in the back of the players' minds that they haven't scored at this stadium yet?
Yeah, it will be, but I think they got the ability to change that, and they know that and they believe in that. I think if they stick to their guns, which pretty much they always do, and stick to the game plan, they will break through.
They are heading now inside. Let's get your quick score prediction before we head back to the studio.
I'm going to say 2-1 City.
2-1 City, yeah. OK. Well, we like it. We have got a question in the studio for Brian Barry Murphy, actually. Brian, how are you going to take on this Spurs team, and would your side score a goal here?
Thank you very much to FG and to Shaun Wright-Phillips. How would you take on this Spurs team?
I don't think I'm in any position, Natalie, to give any advice. I mean, I'm so grateful to you and Michael, you haven't referenced where we are on the table at the moment. Like, we're rock bottom in PL2, and it's largely down to me. So I don't think I'm in any position whatsoever to give advice to the big boss here. But I think...
How do you think they will approach the game?
I know the way Pep will want this game. It's the perfect game, like you said. He's come back into a game where he respects the manager and the opposition more than probably most teams in the Premier League. So you'll know that they have to be really at it, and the players' focus since they came back from Abu Dhabi, you can just sense that zip is there, and this will be. Is
that when you know it's a tough game as well? So you've got to start already. Start of the week.
Like you said about Kyle and Son, you know the players can understand when they're going to face a team of real danger, and that speed that Spurs have at the top end of the pitch will mean the focus will be razor sharp. So I just don't see any way in the world that City won't score tonight, and I think that jinx will be a thing of the past come 90 minutes.
I'm going to quickly big you up because you're very, very humble. Your team are doing very well in the UEFA Youth League.
I appreciate it, Natalie. Thank you.
Through to the quarterfinals. We are very much looking forward to seeing that. And they were flying last year, and you lost a lot of players. So, we're good. Brownie.
He's lost them all to the first team.
Yes.
Isn't that the job? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing?
That is exactly the job.
They're happy to see the back of us.
Yes, that's the job.
They'll be like, we don't want to go back to him.
I'm taking advice from Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob.
If they see your face going near them, they're like thinking, are you going to drag him in that group? He's walking over, that means I've got to go back over there. Leave me alone, please.
I was wondering why Bob runs away from me. I've seen Oscar Bob vacating me as his son yesterday.
He don't want to see you.
Right, I want your score predictions both, please.
Oh, the predictions. I mean, do you know what? I think it could be a really tight game. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm hoping it's got loads of goals. I can't predict this. I can't predict how many goals it's going to be, so I'm sitting on the fence.
Sitting on the fence, Brian?
I think there will be goals because of both managers. I think it could be something like 4-2 City.
Oh, yes, Brian, we're having that.
City heavy favourites, that's for certain. Do you know?
Yeah. I like Ruben Diaz's long mank hair, by the way. He's had a trip. OK. Very best of luck tonight, City. Come on, let's get a goal in the London Stadium. Thank you very much for joining us on Matchday Live, Brownie. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you very much. We will be here at half-time and full-time. Hopefully we're talking about City scoring a goal. Hopefully we're talking about us progressing to the next round of the FA Cup. Full match commentary now with Alistair Mann and with Andy Morrison on the City app.
Thank you, Natalie. Well, for many City fans, the Blues could not have got a harder FA Cup draw than this, a visit to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. While in recent years they've gone to the likes of Anfield, the Emirates and Old Trafford and emerged victorious, this has always proven to be just a step too far. City, as we've already been talking about, have never even scored here, losing all 5 visits. What a statement it would be if the Blues can reverse it completely around, break the hoodoo if it exists, and move into the 5th round of the FA Cup in the process. There are quite a few good omens for the Blues today, not least of which the fact that never have any of these players in Spurs colours ever scored against City here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Indeed, the likes of Son and Kane have always been in their lineups, but tonight neither are in to the Spurs team. Now the Spurs team led out by Christian Romero, the Blues by Kyle Walker. They emerge into a cauldron of noise, buoyed by the fact that there are some 9,000 who've made the trip down to London today for